Greetings, everybody. This is Christopher Messina coming at you from the Messy Time Studios, broadcasting as ever from the beaches of the last free state in America, Florida. Today, I've got something a little different. Rather than having a guest in the studio, because I wouldn't want this guest in my studio, and I don't think he'd want to come, I'm going to share with you something that happened over the weekend in Washington, D.C., where this young man, American citizen, I believe, but he was born and raised in Gaza, so he tells us, uh, exhorting the crowd, full of impressionable young Americans, to become jihadists and to die gloriously as martyrs, fighting not only the Zionist entity, that'd be Israel, for those of you playing the home game, and no, not just them, but this evil empire, America, that took him and his family in and gave them opportunity, and presumably gave him an education that allows him and enables him to speak in a fairly eloquent fashion. You need to listen to this carefully. This is the face of evil. This is an evil, evil, evil terrorist standing on American soil, calling for revolution against our government, as well as the extermination of Israel. Let's kick it off. Let's hear what he has to say. And I know I'm not going to give you his name. You can go look it up. I'm not giving this clown any more advertising beyond this. You can figure it out if you want. I'm not giving you his name. Doesn't matter. And hopefully the FBI will have arrested him and either deported him or thrown him into the darkest dungeon in the federal prison system we have for the rest of his life by the time you watch this. I don't know if enjoy is the right way to start this off, but here we go.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being out here. I'm going to keep this pretty brief. We know the statistics. We know the horrible, horrible crimes they've been committing every day. Massacre after massacre after massacre, including 200 plus killed this morning as part of a quote unquote rescue operation. That's how depraved they are. That's how depraved the people we're working against are.
There's a lot to focus on here, including this lunatic is trying to recruit impressionable young Americans to jihad and martyrdom, fighting what he calls the Zionist terrorist entity. But I just need to pause here because, in the midst of all this evil, one has to call out things that make no sense. He refers to the quote unquote rescue operation. I'm kind of fascinated by that. What is quote unquote about the objective reality of the IDF rescuing hostages? I mean, I get that he doesn't care. I get that it doesn't matter to him that Jews are killed. I get that he doesn't value Israeli life. But of all of the inversions of reality these people go through, I think it's important for anyone listening to pay attention to stuff like that, because if he is lying and distorting reality about something just objectively basic as the fact that the IDF came in and rescued 4 hostages, I would hope other people listening to him begin to wonder, what else is he lying about? Because this is like saying, I put up an umbrella against the quote unquote rain. Doesn't make any sense.
It's been over 8 months now of this genocide. I've lost I've lost exactly 161 members of my family in Gaza to this genocide, to the depraved Zionist entity that is currently massacring our people.
It's really important that anyone listening to this idiot understand that there is no genocide in Gaza. This is their talking point. I gather it's a fun one, and I think it's a good rallying cry. But, on October 6th of last year, there were no reservists being called up and leaving their families. There were no IDF soldiers, risking their lives to root out Hamas and find the remaining hostages in Gaza. The Gazans brought this on themselves. This is a fine example of what the kids colloquially call fuck around and find out. You just cannot invade a foreign country, kill, rape, burn, abduct 1,400 people, and then, I don't know, get away with it. Like, I don't know what goes through these idiots' heads. Like, you've been given, since 1947, the chance to build a productive society. And instead of doing that, you have raised generations of your children to be hate filled monsters who want to do nothing but kill Jews in this jihadic attempt to remove the state of Israel from the map. There's no such thing as Palestine, never has been. There's no such thing as Palestinians. That was invented by Yasser Arafat to create a political cause. All of this evil madness is down to the Arab hatred of Jews. That's it. And not all Arabs, but clearly enough, since starting in 1838, the Peasants' Revolt, that was where Arabs in the backwater of the fading Ottoman Empire were called up by the Egyptian army for conscription. And because they were angry at the Egyptian army against whom they could do nothing, they went on a rampage and tried to kill every Jew they could find in the area. So that predates Zionism by a good 60 years at least. And it's nothing to do with Zionism at all. This is just pure hatred of the Jews inculcated by these people who have been there for a while as the kind of mongrel waste of the Ottoman Empire, who back then until now have done nothing fucking productive with their lives. They have not built a useful society. They've not done anything. They could have worked happily from 1948 onwards alongside the Zionist entity, and they could have built a prosperous society for themselves and their children. Instead, they chose this. They chose generations of hatred and mothers who are going to celebrate when her darling son becomes a shahid by attacking pointlessly Israel and dying in the process. And this is what they've gotten. And this idiot characterizes a moral nation, democratically elected, defending itself against terror as genocide. Pay attention to these evil fucking people.
Supported. Actually, I won't use the word supported. Directly in association with this government here, because this government, we're not even going to say they're complicit anymore. They are directly responsible for the murder of Palestinians in Gaza. They are committing the genocide. It's not just Zionism. It's not just the Zionists. It's this empire here. It's this country here.
The United States has always been a nation of immigrants. We have historically welcomed legal immigration to this nation, and those people that have come here for a better life, and they have, while keeping a sense of their history and their traditions, have gleefully and aggressively assimilated into American society. They wanted to become Americans for generations, and multiple folks were kind of second and third and fourth generation Americans will recall that the late 1800s into the 1960s or 70s, immigrants that came here from other places would deliberately, for example, not speak their native language in the household. They wanted their children to become Americans. They wanted the children to only speak English. They didn't want them to be tainted. Now, of course, it's a bit of a bummer now because many people would have loved to have been able to be bi or trilingual. But that was the cultural milieu in which they arrived. They came here grateful for an opportunity in the land of the free. But this little shit who grew up in Fakestein came to this country, and he's calling for revolt against it. I mean, I don't know why the FBI hasn't arrested this little fucker so far. Hope they do shortly. But he is calling and screaming, as we've seen a trend in Michigan, in many other places, people who have come here who are not grateful to this country. And instead of doing the honorable thing, which would be like, well, I don't like it here, and I'm sorry my parents brought me here, or I'm sorry I came here, and therefore I'll go back whence I came, which in this prick's case would be Gaza. He stays here and he's fomenting revolution against this nation. He's standing in front of the White House, being very careful with his words, while calling for these people in this crowd to become jihadists, not only against the Zionist entity, but against the United States of America. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up to the danger these scumbags face. He's a terrorist standing on American soil who was brought here by, or maybe he was born here, I don't know. I think he says he was raised in Gaza. And now he's here calling for the death of Americans and the death of Jews. Pay attention.
We know that what we've done so far has been historic. I never thought in my lifetime that I would see a Palestinian movement this strong, but we still need to do more. The reality is we're never, like, it's never going to be enough to honor our martyrs, because that is just how great they are to us. That is how great our martyrs are. All glory be to them.
The quote unquote martyrs, and there I'm using quote unquote appropriately, the quote unquote martyrs this evil prick is referring to are terrorists, suicide bombers, gang rapists who cut the heads off women and parade their bodies through Gaza to the cheers of all of the innocent Palestinians. That's who he's talking about, these fucking martyrs. They're terrorists. They're evil, evil people who have done everything they can, wherever they can, to kill any Jew they can find and anyone else they feel is supportive. If you watch the horrifying videos from October 7th that they filmed themselves, these glorious martyrs, they were busy beating and shooting non-Jews because they were, you guessed it, collaborating with the Zionist entity. So these glorious fucking martyrs, believe me, we're happy to send them all to heaven. But they are so great to him. They are so wonderful to him, all these evil pricks. I always wonder whenever I hear one of these guys, usually they're a lot older, if martyrdom's so glorious, asshole, why are you standing in Washington, D.C. giving a speech instead of becoming a martyr? It's real easy to be a martyr. Pick up a rock and run towards an IDF soldier. You can go do that right now, right? But no, he's here in Washington, D.C., glorifying our glorious martyrs. What a sick society. Ponder that. What a sick society that these people glorify terrorists. Period. This is not the French resistance where they were fighting the occupying Nazis. These are terrorists, period, who want to kill you.
But we should do more, and we need to do more. So my ask of you as a Palestinian from Gaza is assess within yourself the amount that you're willing to sacrifice for Palestine. Because in reality, it's not just for Palestine. If you believe in collective liberation for all, that means none of us are free until we are all truly free.
Okay, so now you're getting the fact, for those who are watching this, that this evil asshole is standing in front of the White House asking potentially your teenage, college age children to go blow themselves up for his twisted version of what Allah wants. But he's got a better hook because it's not just for Palestine, which you may or may not give two shits about. It's not just for Palestine. It's for collective liberation of all, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Right? He talks on and on about freedom. Freedom? Are you kidding me? Go try to have a gay pride parade in Gaza, even on October 6th of last year, and see how free it is to live under a totalitarian Islamist death cult, government. I mean, these people are evil. You need to pay attention. This is not rallies. This is not just more BLM stupidity. This is a call to terrorism. And like all calls for terrorism, there's no positivity at the end of it. So come be a shaheed. Come die in the glorious revolution for all of us liberated. Liberated from fucking what? You live in the freest country in the world. You don't appreciate it. And you're encouraging and glorifying people who act very non-freely and who want to deny the freedom of others. I can think of nothing less free than being a young mother with 3 kids in a pizza parlor and having your free choice of eating pizza with your kid be blown apart by a shahid that this fucking asshole is trying to turn your kid into.
I personally really, really wanted to believe that the system did have some justice within it. That if you engaged with it, that's kind of what we're told growing up in the Middle East. America's the golden icon of freedom and justice. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. I can't tell you how much of a sick lie it is, and they use it to justify murdering our people in mass.
Pay really close attention here to his rhetorical device of applying what we used to call in college when someone was just pounding the table about trying to make a point in an argument, but they had no facts on their side. We used to call it proof by assertion. Just keep saying it, and it's going to be true, right? So, growing up in the Middle East, as he says, they heard that the United States of America was indeed the bastion of freedom and justice, which it is. And then he goes on to say, it's a lie. It's all a lie. It's a sick lie. I can't tell you much of a lie it is. You'll note he doesn't give any explanation as to why he now claims that the rule of law system under which we live is in fact not true. The problem for him is it is true. And the problem for him is that 80% of Americans polled about October 7th saw the reality, which is an evil terrorist organization aided and abetted by another evil terrorist organization called the United Nations, invaded Israel, raped, tortured, burned, murdered, and took captive 1,400 people. And therefore, our sense of justice and propriety and morality means that we support our ally Israel in defending itself against such evil. But this evil little bastard standing in front of the White House enjoying all of the freedoms of America, including, one would argue, a police force and a government which is tiptoeing too cowardly in applying wood shampoo, pepper spray, and fire hoses and police dogs to people like him. That's their judgment call, wouldn't be mine. He is standing in a free nation where there are massive processes for justice and rule of law, as he himself can attest, having tried to disrupt a Washington, D.C. council meeting, screaming about, Fakestein, all the usual shit he's yapping about. So pay close attention when these people talk. He's giving you no examples. He's giving you no argument as to why it's all a lie. It's all a lie. He's just saying it. Evil, pure evil.
I say all that to say we've heard from Gaza. We heed Gaza's call. Gaza tells us to escalate for it. That can mean so many different things, but what I will tell you is we need to start sacrificing, truly sacrificing. Think to yourself, how much are you willing to sacrifice for the people of Palestine, for Gaza?
So there you have it. There's the salesman asking for the order. He's pushing for the close. He is asking the people in that audience to go become glorious martyrs for the liberation of us all, whatever on earth that might mean. In practice, it means he's asking those kids in that crowd and anyone else listening to try to die violently fighting the IDF, or, if they can't get a hold of them, probably just wandering into any Jewish deli in New York and start shooting. That's what he's asking them to do. Pay close attention. These evil people are here. They have been here a long time. Many of them are American citizens, God save us. We need to fix this. We are in the middle stages of the beginning of World War III. And the theme of World War III, when the historians write it, assuming the West develops a backbone and wins, is that we will have, as Western civilization, face down the nihilistic Islamist death cults, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Iranian regime, the Houthis, all of these maniacs who have nothing productive to offer the world. Nothing. Zero. They all want death of Jews. When that's done, death of Christians, and some bizarre medievalist fantasy where they get to beat their wives as they like and everyone shuts up and bows down to them. That's what this kid's pitching. He's doing a pretty eloquent silver-tongued job of it. Pay close attention. Your kids aren't going to be seduced by someone who's telling them the facts, that they're going to die horribly in pain for no reason, crying for their mother on the field of battle. He's not pitching that. He's pitching a glorious vision where they're going to die for freedom and international revolution, whatever the hell else is coming out of his lying mouth. I look forward to hearing the FBI have arrested this prick and put him on trial.